Ah! Football is back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. I didn't watch the game because I went to a Post Malone concert and that shit was fire. Post Malone always does a great job. If you have not seen him live in concert, you're going to want to because all of his music is good. Not a single bad song. Freaking loved it. But anyways, football did go on last night. It's a great feeling. I'm so happy that it's back. We are 34 days away from the start of the 2023 NFL season. The Detroit Lions kicking off in Kansas City. Woo! I am more than excited. Just over a month left of waiting. That's a little bit of bad news for me because that means I have a lot of work to do. But nonetheless, I am still very excited and hope everyone is too. Whew. So anyways, if you didn't know that football was on yesterday, there was the Hall of Fame game. The Hall of Fame game went on yesterday between the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. The Cleveland Browns won that game 21-16, but we got to see Zach Wilson play football again. No Aaron Rodgers sighting, so Aaron Rodgers did not set foot on the field as a New York Jet, but we did have Zach Wilson again, and I have to say there was some promise, all right? And I'm sure if you haven't seen Aaron Rodgers' birthday post for Zach Wilson on his Instagram, then you have to check it out. It was a story on Aaron Rodgers' Instagram. It was hilarious. Happy birthday, little bro, to Zach Wilson. But that tells me I don't think he's just fucking with them. I think they might actually be friends. I know Zach Wilson was like, "Oh, I'm gonna give whoever's in this locker room living hell for that starting position." But I think, honestly, we got a Jordan Love situation here. I think Zach Wilson can sit under Aaron Rodgers for a few years, learn from him, especially if they build that bond. Like, Zach Wilson just might be the quarterback that takes over once Aaron Rodgers retires, is what I would assume to happen. Another thing to keep an eye on from the Hall of Fame game. Again, I didn't watch the game, so I didn't see it in person, but I did see highlights and did look at the stats. But it looks like rookie quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson, rookie out of UCLA, played his heart out last night. I got it right here. He went 8 for 11, 82 passing yards, 36 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown and 0 interceptions. Not a bad look from the rookie. There might be a lot of promise there. Deshaun Watson, I'm not going to say he has competition quite yet, but that was very impressive from a rookie quarterback in the preseason. Again, football is back, but it is the preseason, that is, and that kicks off next Thursday. We'll finally see the rest of the teams, the rest of the rookies, the rest of the backups in action. I am very excited, gotta say. But nonetheless, we'll be moving on from the preseason to the regular season. We are going to predict our last division that I need to predict for the 2023 NFL season. This division is the Atlanta Falcons division. I am predicting the Atlanta Falcons, not just the Atlanta Falcons. I am predicting the whole NFC South. And mind you, I'm predicting the NFL playoffs, and I'm predicting the Super Bowl champion. So stay tuned for that, because it is going to be insane. You guys will hate me, especially all of the Falcons fans in the audience. You will hate it. There doesn't seem to be too many of you right now, so maybe I will avoid some of the heat that I'll get for this. But nonetheless, we'll just kick things off. So we'll start off right now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This team has the worst quarterback situation in the National Football League. There is a quarterback battle going on right now between Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. That is sad. Kyle Trask, Baker Mayfield are we really saying Baker Mayfield is close to the same level as Kyle Trask? I don't know what happened, because I remember Baker Mayfield won me a fantasy championship that year. The Browns won a playoff game in Pittsburgh. Baker Mayfield won me a championship game. It was really C.J. Anderson. That was the throwback for Los Angeles Rams. But what happened to this man's career? He would jumping from team to team. He can win football games. Okay, he can win football games, but we've all seen the highlight of Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask in training camp, and it is not pretty in the slightest. It is very bad. Worst quarterback situation in the National Football League. That's all I'm going to say. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL next season. So let's just start rolling. So week 1 at the Minnesota Vikings. As much as I think the Vikings are going to regress some this upcoming season, in Minnesota, Buccaneers are not winning that game. 0-1. Week 2, a home game for Tampa, home against the Chicago Bears. Normally, yes, sir. All right. Normally, I would say the Buccaneers would win this game. But the Buccaneers that I've grown used to are the Jameis Winston and Tom Brady Buccaneers. This is the Baker Mayfield Buccaneers. And you know what? Credit to the Chicago Bears. I think they are going to be a much improved NFL team next season. They might be playoff dark horses, okay? They had the worst record last season, but honestly, they were pretty competitive against some really good teams. They are competitive against the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Dolphins. I know once you pile up those losses, the momentum is completely gone, and the team is just demoralized. That's how you lose 41-10 against the Detroit Lions. But I think the Bears, if they start off hot, which I feel like they tend to do, might be able to pull off a playoff appearance, especially in a very weak NFC. So we'll see what happens. But going along with that, I have the Buccaneers losing to the Chicago Bears week 2. They're not beating the Eagles. Absolutely not. Week 4 against the Saints. I wouldn't be shocked. This is always a very competitive game between these two teams, a huge division rivalry. The Buccaneers might have a slightly better defense than the New Orleans Saints, but offensively, the New Orleans Saints is a much more complete team. Overall, much more talented team. In New Orleans as well, Buccaneers are going 0-4. Hate to say it. And they head into an early bye week, so they get to regroup early. Coming out of the bye week, they have a home game against the Detroit Lions. Okay, I swear. Call me biased, but the Lions should win this game. All right? I feel like most NFL fans can agree that the Lions should win this game. Maybe it's one that they won't because it's the Detroit Lions and they like to lose games that they're not supposed to lose. But nonetheless, I have the Lions winning. 0-5 start for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, if there's any Falcons fans in the audience, which there might be, I apologize. Because, yes, this is always a competitive game. Falcons definitely have a chance to win this game. I think the Buccaneers, however, are going to be hungry, and I think this is the first out of the 6 games that they would have played up until this point, including this one. This is the most winnable one for them. And I have to say, I'm going to give the Buccaneers their first win of the season, week 7, at home against the Atlanta Falcons. All right? So 1-5 start for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Still a very bad start to your football season. Buccaneers fans do not want this to happen. But honestly, I can't see a world. Maybe they get out of there with 2 wins. You can make an argument for 3, but they're not getting out of this first stretch of their season with a winning record. There's no way. And you head into Buffalo. Hell no. Not happening. 1-6. Week 9 at the Houston Texans. I think week 8, this might be a Thursday night game. Could be wrong about that. Either way, I think the Buccaneers do have a fighting chance to win against the Houston Texans, but I'm going to give the win to the Texans in Houston. CJ Stroud, from what I've heard, I think he's been doing all right. I'm sorry, Steven. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's because Jeff Okudah got hurt, man. I swear. But either way, moving on to week 10, we'll have another rare Buccaneers win, home against the Tennessee Titans. When I originally drew up my plans for this, DeAndre Hopkins was not on the Tennessee Titans, and as good as D-Hop is, I don't think he's going to contribute that much to the Tennessee Titans winning a game. Assuming that the Titans' offensive line plays terribly, which I expect it to. I love the Peter Skoronski pick in the NFL draft. I think he's going to be a great guy. he can't do it all by himself, and Ryan Tannehill is getting old. So there's a bunch of risque factors in Tennessee. In Tampa, I'm going to give them the win, 2-7. They're not beating the 49ers. Absolutely not. Colts coming off of a bye, headed into a home game against the Buccaneers in Week 12. I think the Colts are going to win that game. So 2-9. Look, Anthony Richardson's been looking really good in tape, okay? Like, on film, Anthony Richardson, he's looking promising. I thought when the Colts first drafted him, like, this guy is for sure bust. But, hey, he keeps making highlight after highlight. And the Colts have the offensive line was really bad last season, but every season before that, it was top 10. So we'll see what happens. Maybe, Shane Steichen can turn things around in Indianapolis. But either way, Colts are going to beat the Buccaneers. Week 13, home game against the Panthers. I don't think the Buccaneers are going to win that. Falcons fans, Steven, if you didn't leave, here you go. There's a win for the Atlanta Falcons. Buccaneers aren't going to beat the Falcons on the road. I don't think they're going to beat the Packers on the road. Packers handled them last season in Tampa with Tom Brady. Yes, that was Aaron Rodgers. Huge downgrade at quarterback for both teams, but I think the Packers have the better situation here. So, and it's in Green Bay. Give me the Green Bay Packers in that game. Week 16, a home game against the Jaguars. Hey, this one might be interesting. Florida rivalry. I'm going with the Jags, though. I think the Jags are the only... it's no understatement that the Jaguars have way more... No, it is an understatement. Have way more playoff potential than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's just a fact. Week 17, home game against the New Orleans Saints. Again, this game is always competitive. I feel like someone's going to win at some point, but not this season. I have a 2-14 record headed into Week 18 away game against the Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay, they ain't going to win that game. So I have the Buccaneers going 2-14. Up until this point, that is the worst record in the NFL. They share that record with the Arizona Cardinals. When I've done this, I do this simulation like all the time. I'll have you know, like my brain is constantly thinking about what's going to happen next season. But in all of my simulations, the tiebreakers on NFL Predictor, you just Google it. It has come up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting the first overall draft pick. Maybe a quarterback of the future, because Baker Mayfield isn't going to cut it. He's not going to win He's not going to win any Super Bowls with you. Hate to say it. But anyways, we will move on to another team in the NFC South right after I put all of these rectangles back in their place, so there are no surprises before I get to do my little analysis. Here we go, and sweets. Moving on. The time has come, my Falcons fans. The moment you've all been waiting for. The moment you've all been waiting for. I will predict the Atlanta Falcons record in 2023. Now, I want you guys to keep an open mind about this. Jeff Okudah did get carted off the field in practice today. Thank you, Steven. I don't know if he's still watching, but he let me know this information this morning. And I'm just want to say I called it. I don't want him to get hurt, obviously, but I knew that it was a good possibility that he would, because he was hurt all the time in Detroit, and when he was playing, he wasn't that good. So, I hate to say it, Falcons fans, but I don't know how much this will truly affect y'all's secondary. I know it'll make it a little bit worse. He's probably better than the backup you have there, whoever that is. But either way, I don't know. Yeah, Jeff Okudah's hurt. That is what it is. Week 1. This is a Deion Jones rematch game, not a revenge game. Signed with the Carolina Panthers to a 1-year deal earlier this week. Week 1, though, this is going to be Bryce Young's first start in the NFL in Atlanta. I'll give you guys some credit. Look, the nerves are going to be there for Bryce Young. Falcons have a defense filled with veterans now who know what they're doing. They're going to know how to put pressure on this rookie quarterback, especially at home in Atlanta. The Falcons have not had a winning record since 2017. That's 6 years. Almost 6 years. That streak ends right now. I guess not right now, but that streak ends this season. Week 1, Falcons will beat the Carolina Panthers. 1-0 start for the Atlanta Falcons. Congratulations, Falcons fans. You're welcome, all right? Week 2 against the Green Bay Packers. I've said this before when I did the NFC North predictions, but I feel like the Falcons, they always beat the Green Bay Packers in Atlanta with an exception of a few playoff games a long time ago. So, here we go. Desmond Ridder going 2-0. Anyways, so now we move on to Week 3 at the Detroit Lions, the first away game for the Atlanta Falcons. Will they do it? Will they go 3-0 for the first time, I think, since 2017? It might have been 2016 because I remember they played each other when the Lions and Falcons both played each other when they were 3-0. That was the Golden Tate 10-second runoff ending. Salty about it, but technically it's the rule. The ref made sure of that. But will the Falcons do it? Will they go 3-0 and beat the Lions? Fuck no! You are not beating us. The Lions are going to win this game. I don't care what you have to say. The Lions are going to win this game. That's the kiss of death right there. I say that, and then now they won't. But the Lions are better than the Falcons, okay? I don't want to hear it. I know. Oh, shit. Thank you, Zane. Bro, you have this marked on a calendar? 2000. That's insane. 2,081 days. Okay. Falcons sweep. Falcons 17-0. Is that what you want? 2,081 days. That's insane. But don't worry. Look, that streak will come to an end, okay? I think the Falcons, they have a pretty easy schedule starting off the season. Give them a winning record. Come on. You have to, okay? If you go 0-2, it only gets worse from there. So if the Falcons don't win these games, they are royally screwed. But anyways, moving on to Week 4. This is a game in London against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's home turf for them. The London Jaguars. I'm sorry, you're not beating the Jaguars Week 4, especially in London. 2-2 for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm sorry, but winning streak was great. Back to 2-2. First 2 losses in 2023, mind you, for the Atlanta Falcons. Moving on to Week 5, a home game against the Houston Texans. Wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if the Texans do win this game. But I'm giving it to the Atlanta Falcons to have a more experienced defense going up against the rookie quarterback. Again, similar to Week 1. Give me the win for the Atlanta Falcons, 3-2. Week 6, again, a great defense in Washington. An inexperienced quarterback and a shaky offensive line. I think the Falcons have the offensive weapons in place to be great. They could be great next season, especially running the football. Desmond Ridder, I'm not convinced he can throw the ball yet, but especially running the ball, I think the Atlanta Falcons will be great. Drake London is a great receiver. Kyle Pitts is great too. All right, Falcons fans out there, now listen to me. I'm just saying, okay, if you had a decent quarterback, like a quarterback I trusted to throw the ball, I would pick you to win the division. No questions asked. Because there are plenty of pieces surrounding this team that are great. You got Bijan Robinson. He's going to turn out to be a star, hopefully. You already have Cordell Patterson, Tyler Algier, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. And then you got Calais Campbell, Jeff Okudah until he got hurt, Jesse Bates, David Onyemata. Did I say that right? So there's plenty of weapons around this team to be great, but without a good quarterback, it's hard to win games. That is the most important position on a football team if you want to win games. That is the truth. I am sorry. Oh my gosh, we got so many people here. Hi, Owen. Hi, Jack. Hi, Faison. How's it going? Hello, hello. I'm sorry, Faison. I'm sorry. I do think the Falcons will win week 1 against the Green Bay Packers. I am going to be biased. Okay, I'm not usually biased. It's really hard for Lions fans to be biased, okay? Cuz I'm so used to the pain and suffering. My expectations are normally really low. But if you didn't hear, the Detroit Lions sold out tickets at Ford Field for the first time in Ford Field's history. That's like 21 years. The hype is unreal behind this team. I'm seeing it from plenty of other people too. So many people are picking the Lions to take the North, which terrifies me, because that usually means that it won't happen. But I'm going to keep my hopes up high. I am not biased towards the Falcons by any means. I will say that. I feel like I'm a very realist when it comes to Falcons. You're a biased Falcons fan if you have them winning 11 games. And maybe I do. We'll find out. But anyways, week 7. Oh, we already know the result of this game. This is a L for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm sorry. Look, I have to find wins for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at some point, right? 4-3. It's in Tampa. Come on, it's a divisional game. Unbiased Packer fan, I know. Faison, when you talk to me, you're mostly unbiased, I want to say. Oh my gosh. I did see somebody say that the Packers were going to go to the Super Bowl, and that I might cry. I will cry because, yes, you lose to the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have a top 10 defense. Baker Mayfield can win football games, and Desmond Ridder, I don't trust Desmond Ridder enough. All right, it's in Tampa. It's an away game. Give me the Buccaneers. Moving on to week 8, halfway through the season almost. At the Tennessee Titans, I have the Tennessee Titans winning, so bringing the Falcons record back to 500. I know, I'm sorry. The Tennessee Titans are going to be a much worse team than what we're used to seeing. I do like the coaching. Mike Vrabel is a great coach. Derrick Henry is really good. Brian Tannehill is good when he's healthy. DeAndre Hopkins is really good. Defense is all right. So there's potential there for the Tennessee Titans. I think in Tennessee, they'll get that win. Easy enough. 4-4. Not 17-0. 4-4. Week 9, a home game against the Minnesota Vikings. Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota Vikings. All right. I think these are going to be 2 great offenses. Obviously, with Kirk Cousins, Perk Thuggins, and Justin Jefferson on the team, this is going to be an insane Minnesota offense. Running the ball for Atlanta is going to be great. I do think the Falcons defense is going to be better than the Vikings defense by maybe a significant margin. Despite this, though, I think the high-powered offense of Minnesota gives the Vikings the win there. So 4-5, back to a losing record for the Falcons. I'm sorry. Not really. I'm not. You need a reality check, okay? They're not going 11-6. It's not happening. Just kidding. Maybe they will. Honestly, I can see it. I think the ceiling is 11 wins for the Atlanta Falcons. Because, again, if you're looking at these games, these aren't hard teams to beat. So, as long as Desmond Ridder can prove that he can throw the ball, I want to see 200 yards passing from Desmond Ridder. If once I see that, don't leave. Okay. Please don't leave. Please. But I already know what... If you're close to leaving now, you are not ready for this next one. Yeah. I got the foul. All right. Hear me out. Wait. Before you leave. I'm thinking Kyler Murray is back by now. If Kyler Murray isn't back, Okay, Falcons can win it. Fine. I think Kyler Murray is back by now. First game back. Arizona Cardinals, to this point, have not won a game. They are hungry and thirstier than the Falcons. You suffer from a mental illness known as SUGMA. Wonder what that could be. Headed into the bye week for Atlanta. This is a good spot to have a bye week, week 11. Coming out of that bye week, you got a rivalry with the Saints. Look, I don't like the Saints as much as you guys. Okay, that's not true. You guys hate the Saints a lot more, and this will feel good because I'll have you winning against the Saints this year. They should have won last year. I'm Josh, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I know that was a painful game to go to. Anybody at that game, I am sorry because that sucked. In classic Falcons fashion, they blew, a 17-point lead? No way, motherfucker. Don't. Oh, no. Faison, tell me you're joking. Tell me you're joking. He's got to be joking. No way. All right, week 13 at the Jets. I like that spelling, Zane. I like that. And you didn't capitalize on the opportunity there. Yeah. All right, anyways, I have the Jets. Jets are going to beat the Falcons. I'm sorry. Sorry, hate to say it. I think Steven left, didn't he? I don't know. Jets will beat the Falcons in New York. Come on. It's going to happen. All right, here you go. Week 14 against the Buccaneers. There you go. You got to win. One game away. One game away from 500. Will you beat the Panthers week 15 in Carolina? And nope. You got lucky to beat the Panthers twice last season. I think the Panthers are a better team this season. And, yeah. Look, Zane's having mercy. He had mercy. He didn't have... Oh, no. Not the A-Rod supremacy. Look, okay, no. Zach Wilson might not have won that game. There was a lot of promise from preseason. Everybody was hyping Zach Wilson up. Maybe things are changing for Zach Wilson in his career. Maybe his career is headed in a different direction. And he's going to take a few years to learn from veteran Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? Either way, week 16 for the Atlanta Falcons, a home game against most likely Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts in Atlanta. I'll give you guys the win there, okay? Falcons have monster offensive line, top 5 offensive line, much improved defense, great running stars. So 7-8 for the Atlanta Falcons. And you know what, Zane? You said it earlier. You were spot on because I have the Falcons going 7-10 again. I have you losing against the Bears and losing against the Saints. I feel like it's only fitting that another, what is that, the third straight 7-10 season? Faison, it sounded like you're a Jets fan, though. It is sounding like you're a Jets fan. But, you know, this is a good season to be a Jets fan. I will say that. But anyways, yeah. 7-10 for the Atlanta Falcons. I think that's a realistic prediction. Obviously, I think they have a higher ceiling than that, slightly. They also could have a very low ceiling, depending if Ritter really does suck. You do have Taylor Heineke on that team. I do like Heineke. I do think he can win some. Well, he showed us last season that he can win some football games. But yes, go Falcons! Rise up, rise up. 7-10. Let's fucking go. But nonetheless, those were my Falcons predictions. 7-10 for the Atlanta Falcons. Not what Falcons fans want to hear. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Faison. I didn't mean to do you dirty, man. I still love you. Don't worry. I know you're a Packers fan. Don't you worry. You just like A-Rod. 2023 Saints season. That's valid. I mean, when Stafford went to the Rams and he made the playoffs, I was, of course, going to root for him. And then they did it, and it felt really good watching him win a Super Bowl. But it did kind of piss me off that it happened the season after he left Detroit. It was like, bro just left for one season, already won a Super Bowl on a different team. But it is what it is, I guess. I'm sorry. No. No. No, I didn't. I don't want to see anybody unsubscribe. That reminds me, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, because I would love you if you did that. Firm handshake to everybody that subscribes. Come on. Come on. Do it. I think your name will pop up here. Maybe. I don't really know. But anywho, the New Orleans Saints, I think, are the most talented team in the NFC South. But they have... I don't trust Dennis Allen. He doesn't have a good track record coaching football teams, and I just feel a little shaky about it. I don't feel good picking the Saints to win a bunch of games, but we'll see what I do. Week 1, home against the Tennessee Titans. I have the New Orleans Saints winning that game. I think they will be better on both sides of the football, especially in Week 1. 1-0 for the New Orleans Saints. Week 2. Oh yeah, I should mention too, I found out today that Alvin Kamara has been suspended for 3 games, the first 3 games of the NFL season, for the assault thing that happened at the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas, where he just assaulted some guy after an altercation. So yeah, he's suspended 3 games, but don't smoke weed in the NFL, because then you're gone for the whole season. Either way, I don't know if that's still a thing. Maybe it's not. But anyways, week 2, despite the loss of Kamara, they got Jamal Williams. They're chilling. Fucking love Jamal Williams. Week 2 at the Carolina Panthers. This is it's a primetime game. It's either Thursday or Monday night game at the Carolina Panthers. This is Bryce Young's first primetime game. Nerves are going to kick in. Nerves are going to settle. I think that the Carolina Panthers lose to New Orleans at home. The obsessed sports kid. He's not obsessed enough. Needs to do his research, buddy. Okay. The obsessed sports kid actually did my research for me. So thank you, Steven. I love you. All right. Week 3, headed into the Green Bay. Look, I feel like the Saints and the Packers always put on a good game, even if... Okay, never mind. I think one side either destroys the other. 2-0, though. I have the Saints losing in Green Bay against Jordan Love. So the first loss of the season in Green Bay. 2-1 start for the New Orleans Saints. Week 4 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've already been through this one. At home especially, the Saints are going to win that game. 3-1. 3-1. Oh, Faison, I know you love that one, buddy. I don't know if you've watched the Packers predictions. I mean, you'll get a recap of them when we do the playoffs. But, yeah, so we got Saints are going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then we're going to head into week 5. Steven just commented on a post saying that Jeff Okudah was hurt. That's what I meant by he's doing my research. If he did my research, he would have said that the Falcons were going 17-0. I wouldn't have believed him. I would have told him he's full of crap. Week 2, at a very tough New England Patriots defense in New England. I have the Saints losing that game 3-2. And then I do have them getting upset by the Houston Texans in Houston. I'm a little shaky on that one. I think the Saints do have a better team than the Houston Texans, but again, that's that point in the season where I feel like the Texans are going to be hungry for a win. I gave it to them. 3-3 for the Houston Texans. Faison, you're more than welcome to give me some of your research, man. I'll listen to anything. Now, if it's wrong, I'm gonna know. But I'm all ears. Okay. Week 7. This is a Thursday night football game. This is gonna be a great game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I love the Jags. I love the Jaguars next season. It's gonna be such a fun team to watch. That offense. Trevor Lawrence. That hair. Whew. Defense. It's all fine. It's all right. Saints do have a better defense. I like the coaching on Jacksonville more and the offense. Give me the Jaguars to win in primetime. 3-4 for the New Orleans Saints. Coming off of a long break, though, I have the Colts losing to the Saints at home. Now, with Anthony Richardson on this team, it might change a few things, but I think the Saints are better on both sides of the ball. I'm gonna roll with that, okay? Week 9, home game against the Chicago Bears. I think the Saints should win that game. Week 10 at the Minnesota Vikings. Is it freaking pouring outside or something? Oh, yeah, it's like pouring outside. I didn't know it was supposed to rain. That's fucking lame. Woo! All right, it's giving me that like kind of ASMR vibes, though. I'm kind of calming down a little bit. But moving on to Week 10, I have the Minnesota Vikings defeating the New Orleans Saints in Minnesota. 5-5 for the New Orleans Saints as they head into their bye week in Week 11. Coming out of their bye week, we already saw that the New Orleans Saints will lose to the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. 5-6, a losing record for the New Orleans Saints. All right, ASMR done, but originally when I did the Lions predictions, I had the Lions winning this game. I feel like most people are going to pick the Lions to win this game, but it rubs me the wrong way. This reminds me of the Panthers game that Detroit had last season, late in the season. It makes me nervous, and my gut is telling me that the Lions will lose this game. So I changed my prediction officially. No, don't stop. Don't stop. Please comment. I love comments. I love talking to people as I'm doing this. So don't stop commenting, Faison. Please keep going. Everybody keep going. I don't care. Let me know when I'm dumb, okay? Let me know when my takes are bad, and I will debate you right here on the spot. Please. Please comment. I love it. But anyways, I think the Saints will upset. Is that an upset? I don't really know. But I have the Saints beating the Detroit Lions. 6-6, a 500 record. Week 14. Look, Bryce Young is now a more experienced player. The Panthers, I think, are going to be rolling. I have them losing at home against Carolina. And, this happened last season as well. I think the Panthers are going to be a solid team, okay? I think their defense is going to be solid. Offense might be a little bit weaker, but, yeah. I love you too, Jack. I love you. Speaking of Jack, here you go. You'll like this one. I think the Giants will beat the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. I feel like, I don't know. I just remember that game from years ago when it was Eli Manning and Drew Brees. It was like 49-42 or something like that. I forgot who won it, but it was a very entertaining football game. I don't know if we're going to get something too similar, but the Giants offense with Daniel Jones and Saquon, I trust way more than the Saints offense, despite having all those stars on that team. But honestly, the coaching for the Giants just outdoes the coaching on the New Orleans Saints. So when it's crunch time, when it's getting close to playoffs, give me the Giants in that situation. 6-8 for the New Orleans Saints headed into Week 16. Again, this is kind of a game that reminds me of a game from last season. This reminds me of the Baker Mayfield comeback game. I believe this is a primetime game. I have the Saints losing to the Los Angeles Rams on the road in LA. Like, you go from New Orleans to LA. I guess it's not that far, but I feel that's a little cute little upset I think might happen. Honestly, with Matthew Stafford healthy, Cooper Kupp healthy, which he might not be if you haven't heard, but Saints won with 32 seconds left. That sounds about right. Was it a field goal? It had to have been, right? I don't know. But I just remember watching that game years ago. That happened like 2015 or something like that. But it was a great game to watch. Eye candy right there. Week 17 at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, competitive game. I think the Saints are a better team overall. Give me the Saints in that one. And Week 18, I think the Saints do get one win against the Atlanta Falcons. They think they split with. I feel like they always split with each other, except for last season. But the Saints barely won in Atlanta. If it wasn't for the Falcons just being the Falcons. So I have an 8-9 record for the New Orleans Saints. Not a bad record at all. There's a lot of talent on this team on both sides of the ball. Just don't trust the coaching. But we will see what happens because this division is wide open. Anybody can win this division. So, except for the Buccaneers. That's the funny thing, too. The Buccaneers won the division last season. I think they have the worst odds to win it next season. Falcons, Saints, Panthers, I wouldn't be shocked to see any of them in the playoffs. I will be shocked to see the Falcons with 11 wins. That's what I was saying. If the Falcons make the playoffs, I won't be surprised. But if they get 11 wins like all these radio hosts are saying, I would be shocked. But anyways, we have one team left. I'm sure you all know who it is. Last team I need to predict the season for. That is the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers, they ended the season like, was it 6-2? They had a great record, especially at home. They only lost one home game towards the end of the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So a lot of potential. And of course, I can't go without mentioning number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young. We'll see how good he is. Offensive line, a little shaky for the Carolina Panthers, but he does have some experienced veterans, not to mention a great offensive-minded head coach in Frank Reich, and a solid defense. So I think the Panthers have a very solid chance at winning this division, especially after how they ended the season last season. But anyways, starting out the season, Falcons fans, you might know this already, but I have the Falcons beating the Carolina Panthers week 1, Bryce Young's first NFL game in Atlanta against experienced veterans. Give me a win for the Atlanta Falcons. Week 2, primetime game, again against experienced veterans. 0-2 for the Carolina Panthers. If you watched the last stream on Sunday, I have the Carolina Panthers winning on the road in Seattle. Again, look, they're 0-2. They're going to be hungry for a win. Giving them the win in Seattle. I think that's a fun little upset, and I do think that there's a very solid chance that that's going to happen. Week 4. Now, this might be a little shaky. I was very close to changing this game, but I just kept on remembering how solid the Panthers were at home in the tail end of last season. So I did give them the win over the Minnesota Vikings. I might regret that. I'm very on the edge there. I'm not fully confident in that pick, I have to say. I just think the Vikings defense is going to be really bad. So we'll see what happens, but I got the Panthers at home week 4 winning against the Vikings. Now, week 5, okay. The Panthers are the team that broke my heart last season. I was at work. I didn't realize the Lions were playing on a Saturday. Didn't get it off. And I was checking the score at work. It was busy. I was already miserable. And then I see the Panthers shitting all over the Lions, shitting all over our playoff hopes. It made me upset. Week 5, though, in Detroit. That game was in Carolina. I want to say the Lions win. Right? That's not that surprising, right? See, I say that every time, but I feel like the Lions always lose to the Panthers. And when we win, we barely scrape out a win. So we'll see what happens, but I'm giving the win to the Lions as of now. But yeah, moving on to week 6 in Miami, the Carolina Panthers. I don't think they're going to beat the Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the road. No Jalen Ramsey, but I don't think that changes anything. 2-4 for the Carolina Panthers. Headed into week 7, they're kind of early bye week. Coming out of it, they have a home game against the Houston Texans. I think they're going to win at home against the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young matchup. Move on to next week at home again against Anthony Richardson. Give me the Carolina Panthers in that game too. 4-4. Now, these next 2 games, I changed the result of these next 2 games because I guess I was just really high on the Panthers when I was first picking these games, but opinions have changed. I'm not going to for sure say that Bryce Young is going to be the superstar he was in college right off the bat. I think he'll take some time to adjust to the speed of the NFL. But nonetheless, week 10, this is a Thursday night football game in Chicago. I have changed it to the Bears winning this game. And then week 11, a home game against a very tough Dallas Cowboys team who I think are better on both sides of the ball than the Panthers. I have them losing that game. So 4-6 for the Carolina Panthers. Then I have them going on the road to Tennessee and pulling out a win. Wouldn't be a surprise, especially now with DeAndre Hopkins on that team, to see that go the other direction. But who knows? I think the Panthers are overall a better team than the Tennessee Titans. Give them the win. I rock with it. Week 13, I have the Panthers beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. Week 14, I do have that upset pick. The Carolina Panthers will beat the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. They'll split on the season. This will be the game that gives Carolina a winning record headed into Week 15, a home game against the Atlanta Falcons, and I do think the Carolina Panthers will win this game. I agree with you, Faison. I think the Panthers are going to pull this off, and I do think the Panthers will pull off a victory against the Green Bay Packers in Week 16. Again, Jordan Love, there's a lot of questions surrounding Jordan Love. How good is this guy? We really don't know. I think it being in Carolina makes a huge difference. Bryce Young, I think I'll choose Bryce Young over Jordan Love. Week 17 at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Give me the Jaguars in that game. And closing out the season, Week 18 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Carolina Panthers are going to handle business and get that win and get that division title, giving them a record at 10-7, winning the NFC South. Now, I'm now going to move on to my NFL playoff predictions. There, I will predict the Super Bowl winner and all of that jazz. It's going to be very fun. Almost been on for an hour, so let's see how quickly I can do this. I won't rush it, don't you worry. But if you need a refresher of the standings as I have it happening, this is the AFC playoff picture right here. A little weird. I think plenty of opinions have changed, especially with the Miami Dolphins sitting there at the number 2 seed over the Cincinnati Bengals. I feel like some people really like the Dolphins. Some people aren't as big of Dolphins fans. I got Denver in there at 12-5 at a 7 seed. Buffalo missing the playoffs. Cincinnati and Baltimore making them, and Jacksonville taking the throne in the AFC South. Chiefs, number 1 seed, as what seems to be the normal now. I won't be surprised if we see another team take the crown. But I'll show you the NFC next. This is what the NFC ended up looking like. First seed, the Philadelphia Eagles, had them going 15-2. 49ers right after them, 13-4. Then I have the Lions. They get the tiebreaker over the Panthers because I did have the Panthers losing to Detroit. So the Lions get the 3 seed. Carolina gets the 4th seed. Seattle pulls off an 11-6 record, gets the 5th seed, and the Dallas Cowboys. I did change that Carolina game, giving them a winning record, 9-8 for the Dallas Cowboys. I have them as the 6th seed. And then the 7th seed, a little bit of a surprise, I do have the New Orleans Saints. So I know each season there's an average of 6 teams. I believe 6 new playoff teams each season. This season I have 5 new playoff teams. Those are the Detroit Lions, the Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints, New York Jets, and Denver Broncos. Again, there's going to be some prizes. I think the biggest mistake people make when they predict the NFL is that they forget that teams are going to change drastically from season to season, and the teams making the playoffs the most recent season are not going to be the same teams making the playoffs the next season, at least not entirely. But I will move on to my playoff predictions. Here we are. I stole this format from Yahoo Sports, so just in case they try to sue me, I am sorry, Faison. I had to find wins for the Green Bay Packers. I think the ceiling for the Packers is maybe like 9 wins. Unless Jordan Love turns out to be a superstar, then he'll beat the Lions, he'll beat everybody, and then they'll be like the probably third seed in the NFL. But yeah, Packers at 6-11. I feel like that's what that's what the general public are saying. But anyways, we are now in the playoffs. These are my playoff predictions. This is what the bracket looks like. I stole this from Yahoo Sports on Google Images, so sorry if anyone he's mad at me for doing that. We'll start off with the wild card games. Woo! Okay, so we have the Miami Dolphins having a home game against the Denver Broncos. This is going to be Tua's first start in an NFL playoff game. Sean Payton and Russell Wilson have both been here before. Again, people might be shocked to see that I have the Denver Broncos in here at all, but this is a phenomenal defense with a phenomenal head coach. Russell Wilson has had one bad coach his entire career. That was his worst season, which was last season. Now he has Sean Payton, who coached Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. I think he can do great things with Russell Wilson. Again, this is Tua's first start. Assuming he's not hurt, this is Tua's first start in an NFL playoff game. Skylar Thompson started last season, almost beat the Buffalo Bills. But I do have a very historic moment happening on this game. I do think the Denver Broncos will take the throne there. They will be the first 7 seed to beat a 2 seed in the NFL playoffs just because of how good the AFC is. I feel like if any season that it's going to happen, it is going to be this season. All right. Moving on to the New York Jets taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in the jungle. Oh, man. This is going to be a fantastic game. And I'm going to get a lot of hate from this. But I know one person in the audience who won't hate on this. Faison, I have the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, beating the Cincinnati Bengals. I think defensively, I know Joe Burrow's been there before, and that's why I feel kind of shaky. But the Jets are just in a win-now mentality. Like, I can't fathom that they'll lose in the wild card round. Maybe I can. I'm just overhyping the Jets like a bunch of NFL fans. Faison, I know you're all for it, but give me the upset there in the wild card round. 6 seed Jets beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, Tyler Huntley and the Ravens almost did it last season. I don't think it's that unrealistic for the Jets to beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. Speaking of the Ravens, Jaguars-Ravens, always going to be a good game, especially next season. They play each other in the regular season. This playoff game is in Jacksonville. Lamar Jackson just does not have good luck in the playoffs. I say that streak continues. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to take that game. So this is what the divisional round looks like for the AFC. We have a 7th seed Denver taking on number 1 seeded Kansas City Chiefs, and the 6th seeded New York Jets head into Jacksonville, the number 4 seed for the AFC divisional round. Now we'll move on to the wild card round for the NFC. We got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the New Orleans Saints at home. The 49ers are going to win this game. This might be a blowout. This will not be Purdy. Yeah. This won't be pretty for the New Orleans Saints. Look, kudos to them for making it here. Didn't come last season. Good for you. 49ers are winning that game. There's so much pain behind this next game. The Detroit Lions, for the first time in 30 years, more than 30 years, the Detroit Lions will host a playoff game. That one being against the Dallas Cowboys. The Lions never beat the Dallas Cowboys, okay? We've lost to them in the playoffs before. I've seen it with my own eyes, but honestly speaking, the Dallas Cowboys are a better team than the Detroit Lions. I know I did them very dirty. Predicting their record, but I do think they will beat the Detroit Lions in Detroit. I'm happy the Lions made it there. Happy the Lions won the division, but I think the next step is winning a playoff game, but that can come later, okay? Dallas Cowboys are going to beat the Detroit Lions in the NFC wild card. Now, this is a fun game, too. I feel like we get this game quite often, oddly enough, in the playoffs, back when Cam Newton and Russell Wilson were playing in the NFC. Panthers and the Seahawks. Now it's Bryce Young and Geno Smith. This will be Bryce Young's first NFL playoff game. I say Geno Smith goes out there and gets his first playoff win. I think the nerves get to Bryce Young. Geno Smith, obviously having experience in the playoffs from last season. I say the Geno Smith, 11 years in the league, finally gets his first playoff win and sets up a very entertaining divisional rivalries in the NFL NFC divisional round. So What a great story that is. Anyways, I do have the Broncos beating the Chiefs one time this season. That was in the regular season, but now this is the playoffs. This is crunch time. Give me the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. No questions about it. Come on. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs will beat the Broncos at home in the playoffs. I'm not batting an eye against that. I think I'm very confident that the Chiefs won't lose to the Broncos if they were to meet in the playoffs. Now, divisional round, Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the New York Jets. This is going to be a great game. It was last season. I think the Jets have a much better defense than the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both teams are going to have very electric offenses. So this is where I think the Jaguars run, and setting up a New York Jet, Cincinnati Bengal, AFC Championship, New York Jet, Kansas City Chief, AFC Championship game. This is going to be entertaining. I'm excited. I am so excited for the NFL season to start. Words cannot describe how excited I am. Anyways, moving on. So we got some tough rivalry games in the NFC divisional round. The Dallas Cowboys headed into Philadelphia in the playoffs. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles all the way. I think they will I have them sweeping the Dallas Cowboys in the regular season. I think they'll get the win in the playoffs. 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Again, this is going to be a great game. I actually have these teams splitting in the regular season. I do have Seattle actually winning in San Francisco in the regular season. But when it comes to the playoffs, I think, it's crunch time. I think the 49ers are a better team. 49ers are going to win that game. It being a rematch, setting up the rematch NFC Championship game of the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. Now we're moving on to our championship games. AFC Championship game, Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers. Woo! This is going to be entertaining. This is going to be great, okay? Y'all aren't ready for this, but I have the New York Jets beating the Kansas City Chiefs on the road, upsetting Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, spoiling their party. And I have the Jets headed into the Super Bowl, facing off against a very formidable NFC opponent. Both the 49ers and Eagles are very complete teams, very impressive teams. But the game being in Philadelphia, I think the Philadelphia Eagles do go back-to-back Super Bowls. So this is what I have the Super Bowl matchup as. I'm pretty confident on this. I'm going to stick by this. The Jets and the Eagles are going to face each other in the Super Bowl. That's what I think is going to happen, honestly. Again, if the Chiefs go, I'm not surprised. 49ers go, I'm not surprised. Anybody else goes, except for like the Bengals and the Bills if they make the playoffs. But I think this is what's going to happen. Now the real question is, who will win the Super Bowl, might you say? The Jets, they're in a win now mode. Eagles had a phenomenal draft. They got Jalen Carter, already went there last year, know how it feels to lose, knows how the game atmosphere feels. This is basically a take two for the Philadelphia Eagles. Aaron Rodgers, he's won a Super Bowl before. He knows how to do it. Rest of this New York Jets team, extremely young. Both great defenses, both great offenses. I think this is going to be the Super Bowl. But who is going to win it? I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning their second Super Bowl title. Super Bowl LVIII champions. Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Philadelphia Eagles currently are the most complete team in the NFL. I think they are the best team in the NFL. If you saw my power rankings that I made months ago, you can see that I do have the Eagles ranked number one. Jets, that especially if they land Dalvin Cook, they are in a win now mode. I think, especially with the veteran quarterback and Aaron Rodgers on this team, a great defense. I think they're going to make the push. I think they'll make the push into the Super Bowl for the first time since Super Bowl III, but I do have them falling just shy of the Super Bowl. I think the Eagles just have such a better team, or just such a good team in general. Jets will put up a great fight. It'll be a very entertaining game, but overall, Eagles are winning the Super Bowl. And with that, that'll conclude this stream. Thank you so much to everybody that tuned in. There was a lot of you this time, so I love each and every one of you. I love you, Falcons fans. I know you didn't like my predictions. I know the Falcons aren't there wearing the crown. Hey, last time I predicted the Falcons to win the Super Bowl, they lost in the Super Bowl in a horrendous fashion. So you don't want me to pick the Falcons to win the Super Bowl. But either way, that's going to conclude this episode of the Pro Nerd Sports Podcast. I thank everyone once again for coming out and watching. I appreciate it so much. I love doing this. This is so much fun, especially when you guys are talking to me. I love it so much. Bye, Owen. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Again, thank you, everybody. I love you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you next time. Take care.